I ain't had time, I got time now. Yeah, I'm about to shine and design now. Going coast to coast when we dine out. Put the coach on the map when we flying out. Know I gotta win when we ride out. And I ain't gotta spin when I buy now. Love, power, respect is on our mind now. If I don't tell you when, I mean right now. I ain't allergic to it. King flow through my blood when you heard the music. Yeah, and for my land I put the dirt into it. I'm a god on this earth, I deserve to do it. Yeah.
Welcome to the Black Carpet Podcast, where we shine a spotlight on ordinary people doing extraordinary things. Today, we got a very special guest coming to y'all. If y'all know me, then y'all know this guest is very special. Miss Deidra Collins-Woods, thank you for coming on.
Glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
Well, I appreciate it. We just gonna dive right into it. For the people who don't know you, I need you to tell people, who is Deidra Collins-Woods?
Which side? I mean, I got multiple sides of me. However, I'll keep it clean. I am a mother, I'm a wife, I'm an entrepreneur, I am a certified HR professional, I'm a certified nail tech. I don't know.
Very extensive resume.
Yeah, you know.
So with your entrepreneur, what businesses do you have as an entrepreneur?
So I'm also, I didn't add this in, forgot, but I'm also a nonprofit owner, 15 years this year. So that's kind of my baby right now. I run a nonprofit organization called Women Enough. And basically I started this organization back in 2009. I was a teen mother. I'm sure we'll dive deeper into that later, but that is like my baby right now, because I'm very big on helping others in the community, and I just want to ensure that I'm not losing sight of that being the ultimate goal, and being a part of the impact, not just talking about it. From there, as far as my entrepreneurial kind of breakdown, I guess, I have Just Face It Events and Photo Booths, a photo booth company that I started in 2021. As I mentioned, I'm a certified nail tech, licensed nail tech in Illinois and Wisconsin. I don't do much with that nowadays, but I do teach others how to do nails as well. And then I'm an HR professional. So I have a SHRM CP, and I've been in human resources for about 17 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we're going to dive a little deeper into that a little later on. Right now, I want to get the people to get to know who you are. So from the beginning, born here, but spent the first couple of years of your life in Puerto Rico. Tell me how that experience was, from what you can recall.
Well, from my recollection, I was like born, and then 2 to 3, I think we came back here. I don't remember. There's so many different stories with it. I know my social security number is out of Puerto Rico. However, most of my family on my mother's side is still in Puerto Rico. My mother was born in Gary, Indiana, but she's from Bayamón, Puerto Rico. So she's from there, and obviously they lived there after she was born. But yeah.
Okay, so you end up moving back here eventually. How was your childhood once you moved back here? Like, as an only child, I tend to like hearing stories of people with siblings, because I don't have sibling stories. Right. So I tend to like hearing like how people's childhood was coming up. I
had a pretty good childhood for the most part. Of course, families, they have their, right, all sorts of things going on, but pretty middle class. I grew up in Zion when Zion was the place to be. It wasn't what it is now, but back in 1985, 87, whatever, I was born in 85, but we lived in Zion since I was a little girl, so I'm thinking maybe 87, 88 is when my parents left from wherever they was living. I don't know. And we grew up in Zion. I grew up in Zion. My brother grew up in Zion. I have 2 other brothers on my dad's side, but me and my oldest brother, we have the same mom and dad. So we grew up in a household together until my parents got divorced when we were, I don't remember. I was probably like 7.
Okay.
Yeah.
So with you saying that you grew up in Zion, I know in the Lake County area that's big with the Zion, Waukegan, North Chicago, like rivalry.
ZB.
You going, there we go.
All day. All day. I ain't no bulldog. I ain't no warhawk.
You growing up as a
beat.
ZB, how was that experience as, your high school experience? Like, was you the good kid or was you like the problem child in high school?
I was definitely the problem child. Okay. I was, for most of my high school years, I was in behavior disorder classes because I was kind of the person who was always, it's always the little pretty light-skinned girl folks want to mess with her. And, so I was always in trouble for trying to be cool, fighting, just doing dumb stuff, high school dumb stuff. And, I definitely wasn't the good kid. I mean, I'm just going to leave that there. I definitely was not the good kid.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So in high school, I know you had a very pivotal, like, turning moment in your life. You had your first child in high school. Mm-hmm. How was that, like, feeling when you found out that you was pregnant?
Well, it's funny because I actually found out in 8th grade. So okay. it was the end of 8th grade year. I went to Kenneth Murphy Junior High in Beach Park. And my mom, she tricked me. She tricked me into giving her a urine sample because I guess she knew at the time I was 14. I didn't know what was going on. And she's like, oh, well, there's this new test that they're doing to, make sure. I forget what her story was, but she made up some crazy story as to why she needed a sample of my urine. Mm-hmm. At the time, she worked for what's now Rosalind Franklin. It used to be Chicago Medical School. She worked at Chicago Medical School. So she had taken my sample and did my sample at work because she was like, oh, she ain't asked for no feminine products. She didn't do none of this. So something ain't right, So then I'll never forget, she picked me up from school that day. She never picks me up from school. I, would go with friends or we would walk home or whatever the case is. Mm-hmm. And she picked me up from school and she's like crying. She's all like, my mother's Puerto Rican. So she's like really just like, oh my God, like she's just going off. So, and not going off like in a bad way. She's just like crying and sad. And I'm like, what is wrong with you? Mind you, I was the bad kid. I didn't care about nothing. I had this very, very hard interior and sometimes exterior, but I'm like, what's wrong with you? And she's like, well, and that's when she told me. And I was like, oh, for real? Like, what? Like, what happened? When did it happen? What's going on? And she just looked at me and, like I said, my mother, she's a Hispanic woman. Most Hispanics are very like mothers, they're like even mothers in general. They're just very nurturing and, and I remember her very first thing she said to me, well, what the devil meant for evil, God meant for good. I said, what you mean? Like who finna have this kid? You got me bent.
So you didn't plan on having, like, keeping the child 14. At first? Right.
I was 14, mm-hmm. So I didn't have a plan.
Right.
I didn't say, yeah, I'm going to do it or no, I'm not, because my plan was not a plan. I didn't have one.
Right.
So I just remember that. But, being a teen mom, my mother made it easy for me. Just to be honest, she was there and she did everything, which is why I had 3 more. So I sometimes blame her, like, well, why you ain't just say, no, I'm not watching them. No, you can't go out. But she was and still is to this day. She's an amazing mother.
So you were still able to enjoy your teen years.
I was outside. I was outside. Yes.
Okay.
I was outside.
Okay. So on the flip side, you told how your mom took it. Mm-hmm. How did your dad take it?
I don't think me and my dad didn't talk for like maybe a couple weeks after. I didn't live with my dad at the time. They were already divorced. Okay. So I lived in Beach Park with my mother at this time. Mm-hmm. And they didn't live together. So he didn't say too much. My dad is very like, he's either gonna say too much or he's gonna say nothing. Okay. There's no like real in between. So all I recall is he was there when I had my son, and he was very excited to be a grandparent. So, I mean, after my son was born, obviously, but.
So fast forward, now that you mentioned that you end up having 3 more kids. Mm-hmm. So now at what, 23?
Yeah, about
23. You now have 4 kids. Mm-hmm. How was that experience as being a young mom now with 4 kids at 23 years old?
Well, I think my mama bogus as hell. She only helped with the first one. No, she helped with all of them, but she wasn't as instrumental with the others because she like, I got this one. Right. But she was still helpful. But yeah, I mean, it was a challenge, but it forced me to get up and do more. They encouraged me to do more.
So you think that like they were your driving force?
Absolutely. I've never been without a job. Mm-hmm. I was 15 years old, working 2 jobs, still going to school. I was emancipated at 16, got my very first apartment at 16. I was living over there in Waukegan, Buckingham Palace or whatever it was called. And she thought that was best for me because we just did not get along in the same household.
So your mother was okay with you being emancipated?
Yeah, she's the one who. She's the one who emancipated me. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Mm-hmm. So between 23 and 30, somewhere around there, mm-hmm. you kind of did a lot of moving around.
Yeah.
You moved around. You've been to Georgia, been to Phoenix, things like that. What eventually made you finally like, okay, I'm gonna settle back down, back in Lake County, and chill out?
I think mainly the support. I didn't have support in the places I was. When I moved to Georgia, my mother followed me, and I told her then, I was like, well, I think I'm gonna move to Arizona. She like, I'm not following you again, because she wanted to be near her grandchildren. Right. So she moved to Arizona, or not to Arizona, to Georgia, and she lived there. She lived with us for a while. We had a house out there, and then she got her own place, and she met her husband, and now they've been together for 10-something years, maybe.
So was it really a specific reason for you moving around so much, or was it just like something you just wanted to do?
I think at that age, I often ran from things. Mm-hmm. Situations would take place, and I mentally couldn't deal with them. So my outlet was getting away from it because I knew me, mm-hmm. and I knew what I was capable of. And, You had to ask what you was capable of at that time. At that time, I was capable of, I mean, I had a rap sheet a mile long before I turned 22. Okay. So I'm just being real.
So with you bringing that up and mm-hmm. you catching the rap sheet and everything, during this time is when the bulk of your criminal record kind of happened. Do you remember? Most of it. Do you remember the first case you caught?
No, I don't.
What does that mean?
Yeah, I had like maybe 14 cases before I was 22.
And what were most of those cases?
Battery, assault, fighting. That's it. I was never like a thief. I wasn't stealing stuff, or I wasn't, breaking into cars or houses or none like that. Mm-hmm. I had anger issues.
Okay, so what finally made you was like, okay, I gotta stop. I gotta slow down now?
I think it was probably in 2007 when I almost had my son in jail because I was locked up with my youngest son.
So you were pregnant while in jail?
Yeah, well, I was pregnant before I went to jail. I was 5 months, yeah, and then I wound up fighting a police officer and got locked up.
So would that be like you say that was the thing that kind of slowed you down and kind of stopped you from getting into so many of the... Kind of slowed you down.
A little bit. I think I had a case or two after that. But yeah, I think that's what did it, because I caught a case, and even when I went to Georgia. But that was over my kids. Like, my son called me and he said, this lady called me this or said something, one of the teachers. And so I had caught a case for disruption of public school, which was like, minor. But I still sat in jail in Gwinnett County for 2 weeks before they gave me a court date, which was crazy.
So did any of your cases lead you to have to do like a long period of time in jail?
When I fought the police officer.
You did what?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so I want to dive into that. Like, what happened with that situation? What happened with that situation?
Okay, here's the truth. The truth is, I hate talking about this, but the truth is they were trying to serve me with an order of protection from a girl. I'm not going to say who the girl was, but it was one of my daughter's family members. We were having a party for her at Chuck E. Cheese. She tried to grab my daughter, and there was an altercation that took place because I don't play about my kids. So there was an altercation that took place. Then she tried to press charges on me, like, you tried to grab my daughter. Like, what you talking about? Like, they want to call the police? That's crazy. Anywho, so for over a week, they had been trying to come and serve me with an order of protection. I lived in Bethesda, or off Bethesda in Zion. But they would come, the sheriff and the officers would come late at night. Like, it would be, I'd be asleep, my kids sleep, everybody sleep. And they banging at the door. And I would politely go to the front door, turn off the porch light and say, come back at a decent hour. I got time to be playing with y'all. Well, we just need to give you some papers. Okay, well, y'all can do that when I'm up. Not right now. Good night. And then I would turn up the music and let them go on about their way. So they did this for about a week until they learned my schedule. And they caught me going to work one morning, a lady officer who I actually used to go to school with. And she caught me pulling out, getting ready to drop my kids off at daycare. I was right by New Tech. It was right off Bethesda, right by where New Tech is now. And I told her, I stopped, obviously, because she pulled me over. She says, well, my officers have been trying to come in. So I said, I know. And I told her I knew. I know they've been trying, and I have been politely asking them to come at a decent hour. And she says, well, now I'm here at a decent hour. I said, well, I didn't ask for you. So, so we got into a little debate in the car. I said, look, if you finna take me or you finna do whatever you finna do, you gonna do it from my house. So I drove off and I pulled back in my parking lot, or in my parking spot. I was only like 2 blocks down. I didn't think that I was getting a fleeing and eluding, or whatever they call it, a fleeing from the scene. So we get back to the house. My brother's in the house. He comes out because he hears all the sirens. He's like, what is happening? I told my kids, go in the house. Just go inside, and I got this. So she tried to push me on the car to handcuff me. And mind you, I'm 5 months pregnant. What are you doing? Like, you crazy. Right. So I'm not going to not do nothing. So she grabbed near her gun. I said, look, baby, if you going to grab it, you better kill me. I said just like that. I said, because it ain't nothing you could do with me.
You told the police officer?
I absolutely did. Okay. I absolutely did. So basically, we got into a little scuffle, and I was able to get free from her, and I ran in the house. So obviously, at this point, the whole house is swarmed with police officers. My brother is like, what is happening? Mind you, he was in my house. Right. So luckily, he was there because he could get the kids. But he was like, what is happening? What's going on? And I told him, and I was like, she kept trying to come and arrest me. And I'm like, no, give me your sergeant. Like, you ain't finna touch me. Like, period. You're not gonna touch me. And long story short, when the sergeant got there, I came outside. I let them cuff me, and I said, I'm pregnant. You can't cuff me in the back, cuff me in the front. I know. Quit playing. Cuff me in the front. So they did. They cuffed me in the front. And then I remember getting in the back seat of the police car. I'll never forget this because my brother laughed so hard. I was in the police car, and I kept telling them, like, it's hot in here. Before they even put me in the car. This was in the summertime. I'm like, it is hot. Like, leave the windows down. They didn't want to roll the window down. So I don't know why they didn't lock the windows. So I was able to roll down the window. They over there talking to my brother. I'm like, hey, could y'all roll this window down for me? of course, no, they could not roll the window down for me for whatever reason. They just wanted to be all crazy and did not want to roll the window down for me. So who leaves? Did you even know that you could open the back door of a police car? I thought it was like on child lock or something.
Usually it is.
Okay, so they rolled my window back up, but they didn't lock the door. Okay. So my brother is outside talking to all the police officers. All of a sudden, he sees me standing up by the car. His mouth dry. He like, I opened the car door. I'm like, hey, didn't I just say it's hot in the motherfucking here? Could y'all come roll down the window?
So what was their reaction when that happened?
They all just tried to rush me like I was finna run. But I'm fat as hell. Where I'm finna run? Where I'm finna go? I ain't going nowhere. Like, what y'all talking about?
Right.
So, yeah. So that's when I did a nice little bid. So
have do you still have that criminal record, or have you taken care of that criminal record?
No, that's been taken care of. I got everything expunged when I was working for an attorney in Waukegan. I was there for 8 years maybe. And during that time, I slowly but surely, case by case, but the judges started to know me. People started to get to know me. They knew who I was today and seeing me in the community and things like that. So it was a little easier to get my record expunged because of the changes that I had made.
So with the criminal record like that, how were you able to get a job with the lawyer?
Oh, that's funny. So I was actually fighting a case.
What?
And yes, I was fighting a case, and I was talking to someone at an employment agency, and they said, well, just be honest with them, like tell them what's going on. And, next thing you know, I see the person who I just interviewed for this job with, the attorney, in court while I'm fighting my case. And he's like, hey, when you get up out of here, come see me, come see me.
So did you win the case that you was fighting?
I did.
Oh, nice.
I did.
That's probably why you ended up getting the job.
It's very possible. Very possible. It was a trial date, so.
Okay, so we're going to flip the script a little bit, kind of pivot a little bit. You probably at this time, you're what, 30-something years old. As you get older, you got friends and everything like that you build relationships with. I know there's two people in particular that you kind of have two friendships that's very special to you. Camille and Robin. May they rest in peace. Kind of tell me a little more about your two friends, Camille and Robin.
So Bird, that was my hitter. So Robin, Robin Harris, we called her Bird. Right. That was my hitter. I used to get kicked off the bus all the time when we went to Central. We lived off of 22nd and Horeb. She lived just like a block over, but where she lived at, she could actually take the bus because it was over a mile. If it's under a mile, you have to walk or get a ride. Right. So I literally 1 block away. And so where I lived at, it wasn't quite far enough to be able to take the bus. So I would go to Bird House and I would get on the bus. Well, I would get kicked off at least once a week. I'll be modest, once a month. Okay, we'll just say that. And Bird was the only person who would come to my house when it was snowing. I'm talking snow up to here, and she will walk to school with me every day because my daddy no, you got kicked out. You got kicked off the bus, so now you got to walk. I'm not taking you to school. No. So Bird was a real one. If I was into it, she was into it. You know what I'm saying? Like it wasn't none of that, but she was a sweetheart. She loved everybody. But it's just like, no, we not talking to them. Oh, we not talking to them, And then Camille, so Bird, I've known her since maybe 5th or 6th grade. And she passed away in 2019. And then Camille, I had only known her for maybe 2-3 years before she passed away. I didn't even know her a super long time, but that was my hitter. Like, she had the sweetest personality, the biggest heart. And she was killed by a man who she had only known for 3 or 4 months. And so he killed her on the expressway, and right before he killed himself. So May 15th, 2016 is when she passed away.
Okay. Now I know you were spoken earlier about your organization, Women Enough Inc. I know you originally started that, and they were kind of the catalyst to kind of help you start that. But since Camille's passing, you've kind of expanded it a lot in memory of her.
Yes.
Talk more about your foundation and what that means to you, and what you do. And
yeah. So, like you mentioned, my organization started well before Camille's passing.
Right.
2009, we originated in my front yard. I was living in Zion, again, actually right down the street, on the same street, same block, like 4 houses down across the street from my childhood home, which is 2207 Horb. But then I moved to 2214 Horb when I was an adult. And we had, I just had this idea. I was doing these women's groups, just trying to grow, become better. And I'll never forget sitting at a computer for 17 hours straight doing my bylaws, doing my articles of incorporation, doing everything because I wanted to open a nonprofit. I wanted to help women and girls. I wanted to help women who were like me. I wanted to help girls who were like me. And, just let them know that at the end of the day, teen pregnancy is not the end of life, So I started teaching teen pregnancy prevention classes at the local schools. We did this big yard sale, not even a sale, it was a giveaway. A lot of the different companies in our immediate area would donate cribs and things like that to us, big, furniture items. And one day I'm just like, okay, we got to do something with this stuff, but I don't want to sell it. Obviously, it was given to us. I want to give it away to those who need it. So literally, we put everything out on the yard. All you see is the entire community just flocking like, hey, can we have, if you need it, you take it, And it's just, I think that's what really got us started, because people got to see who we were from our heart. They got to see who we were as Women Enough, and Robin Burr was a big part of that. She's been there since day one of Women Enough. And so as far as the domestic violence portion, that started after Camille passed away. In May, she passed away of 2016, and in October of 2016, we were having our very first Unmask the Violence, is what we called it. And that's what we call it to this day. And I just felt like it gave me almost like a sense of her still being there, like her death not being in vain. Yeah. So I figured if we could help one person escape, help one person, get in a better situation, help one person realize their worth, then we did our job. And now, many, many years later, we're still doing the same event, and it has just become, a larger, and the impact has become, bigger. So we have tons of people, the sheriff, the state's attorney, different organizations. A lot of teens come out this year. We'll have a lot of the teens that I taught at Zion Benton coming out. So it's just it's something to keep her memory alive while helping others not have to go through the same struggle she went through.
So what date this year? What date do we have for? Do you have a date set for the event this year?
Yes. So it's October 12th. It's a Saturday at a Crazy Place venue in Waukegan. And I'm having it there because I think it's going to be a lot larger than it has been in the past. So hopefully.
Okay. With you saying that Women Enough originally started wanting to give back to young ladies, I know you've kind of done some improvements and stuff yourself over the years. Do you feel like that's the reason you qualified to be and impactful person in these young women's lives?
No. I don't feel I'm qualified at all, to be honest. Because who's the qualifier is the question. Who qualifies us to do anything?
So who's to say you're not qualified?
That's exactly true. However, are there people more qualified is the question. So, I've always known, like I said, when I started Women Enough, it was more so to ensure that those who were like me or in similar situations that I was in, they had the proper tools. Everyone always wants to yell, oh, you need to be successful. You need to do this. You need to do that. But where are the tools so that way they can actually do that? So that's really, that has always been my goal. And I have tools. I have education. I have things that I could teach. Yes, I have a terrible mouth. I have a potty mouth. I tell people that all the time. I'm not perfect. I'm not, will never be. I'll never be perfect. And I still have a lot of things to work on. But at the same time, so does everybody else. Right. If you're perfect, you're God, and nobody's God but God. So I qualified myself to be, the person who is going to be out and helping other people succeed. And if my knowledge, my education, can do that, then my life experience, that's all I need. Right. That's all I need. And they teach me probably more than I teach them. And they don't even realize it. A lot of times they're like, oh, Deidra, thank you so much. You helped me with this. You helped me with that. I'm like, at the same time, you're telling me I helped you. You have no idea, just hearing your story, how much that helped me to continue doing what I'm doing. So
what are some of the services that Women Enough offers to the community at this time?
Okay. So currently we provide career preparation classes. It's a series that we call Cut the Check. We had to have something that was, something that people would gravitate toward. And so that is kind of an interactive experience for adults, for teens. Recently, I've been at the high schools, Zion in particularly, dealing with some of their underserved youth or some of their troubled youth, girls, and that has been an experience. It has been an experience, a great one. Outside of that, obviously, the domestic violence, we do resume building, like I said, career preparation, teen pregnancy prevention, application services. People don't even understand that there are people out here who do not know how to fill out an application. Something as simple as whether it's for human services or whether it's for a job or whatever the case may be, there are certain skills that our schools no longer teach or never taught, truthfully. True. So, it's one of those things that I just feel is important, because I would want someone, if I was unavailable or didn't have the skill set, didn't have the knowledge, didn't have the education, I would want someone to teach my child.
Now we're gonna get a little more personal.
Okay.
We spoke a little bit about your growth. As someone who had 4 kids before she was 23 or 24, I know you had kind of been through how can I put this? You've been through a lot when it comes to relationships. Of course, you had to grow. We all have to grow when it comes to relationships. You was just recently married. What do you think? How do you think your growth has helped or hurt, or lack of growth, whatever you want to say, in regards to the success and health of your marriage?
That's a good one. I feel like I still have a lot of growth that needs to be met. I had a lot of, you can never be prepared for marriage, because every marriage is different. You know what I'm saying? So if someone tells you that I got married and I was prepared for everything, they're lying. they're lying, because things change. Just like one thing that's inevitable is change. And circumstances change. You don't know this person at their worst if you've never seen them at their worst. You don't know this person at their lowest if you've never seen them at their lowest. So I think it's all about navigation. How do you navigate the difficult times? How do you embrace the good times? And what's in between the both of those? So right now I'm still growing. Because there are days I want to kill you.
Wait.
And then
No, I'm just
Are
kidding.
you not my husband? Okay. Let's do that. If you want to do that, they want to see. I already told them I got a potty mouth. We can do it. I mean, don't come because I'm ready. But yeah, so I mean, I learn every day. Mm-hmm. I learn through situations that take place. And, you know, when I first got married, I was not prepared to not be the breadwinner. Mm-hmm. I wasn't, because I've been the breadwinner most of my relationships. Mm-hmm. And when a time came where I was just like, okay, I don't want to do this. And, you know, you kind of stepped up and you were just like, okay, you don't work one job, I'll work two. And to me, that showed me something that I had never seen before. That showed me beyond a relationship. It showed me that there was faith in what I was doing. And I don't think that anyone has had faith in what I do, because some of it's been crazy. Outside of myself, my mother, my parents, of course, my brother is like one of my biggest supporters. But, you know, it's just like, you just never know. You never know until the situation arises. And I no longer wanted to work for money. I wanted to work because I wanted to feel something again. Mm-hmm. I wanted to work in the community and do something that I could say, wow, look at that impact. Mm-hmm. You know, regardless if it was 6 figures or 2 figures. You know what I'm saying? Well, I don't know about 2 figures, but you know what I'm saying. But, you know, so I think it's just, everything's a learning lesson. Everything's a learning lesson. Marriage is a learning lesson. Day by day is a learning lesson. Right. You know, because you don't know what you're going to be faced with in that day. Mm-hmm. And once you're faced with it, it's not about what happens to you. It's about how you react to it and what you do after. So I'm still learning the reaction part, you know. Yeah. I think I'm getting a little better. I think I'm getting better. So I will say that I'm not proud of being who I used to be, but I'm definitely proud about who I will become. And I'm even proud of the efforts that I've made to become who I want to become.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we're going to close out. In closing, I want to give you an opportunity to, it's a 2-part closeout. First, if you had to give advice to a young girl right now who was in your position when you were 15, 16 years old, what would you tell her?
I would say give yourself some grace, because it's hard. It's hard being a teen in today's day and age. It's hard having to navigate through social media and bullying and peer pressure, and it's maximized extremely from our day and age to now. And I would just say, give yourself some grace, because you're not the first, you're not the last, and you're not going to be the only. However, day by day, take a step forward. Even if tomorrow you take 8 back, guess what? It would have been 9 had you not have taken the 1 forward that you did the day before. So I would just say take it one day at a time and give yourself grace.
That was a gem. I don't even know if I want to come with the second part now. I don't even know if I want to come with the second part now. But second part of my question, you spoke a little bit about the trials and tribulations of marriage. Mm-hmm. If you could give advice to a newlywed couple, what would be your advice to them?
Don't do it!
And on that note,
do it! Don't No, dang, that's tough. I would say be prepared for anything. And if you can't be prepared for anything, be prepared for everything. It may not come right away, but you have got to ensure that you are ready. And the thing is, can you truly, really ever be ready? No, you can't. So you have to be as prepared as you can be. Come in with an open mind, communication, and really, you've got to have some type. I hate this word. Oh, it's so ugly. You have to compromise.
Yeah, she really does hate that word. I just want y'all to know.
If I want Amazon packages every single day, I don't think that should be a problem. I should not have to hide them at my neighbor's house or have them coming in under my son's name just so you don't know that they're coming.
Right.
But, I would just say, definitely compromise. I'm still learning that part. I've never had to compromise. It was always my way or the highway. I'm gone. I'm out of here. I'm gone. If I don't like it, I'm gone. Mm-hmm. In marriage, you can't do that. So be as prepared as you can be. Not for anything, for everything.
And on that note, I want to thank y'all for tuning in to the first episode of the Black Carpet Podcast. Deidra Collins-Woods, I want to thank you for walking the black carpet. Y'all stay tuned for the next episode. That one might be a little juicier than this one.
I ain't had time, I got time now. Yeah, I'm about to shine and design now. Going coast to coast when we dine out. Put the culture on the map when we flying out. Know I gotta win when we ride out. And I ain't gotta spin when I buy now. Love, power, respect is on our mind now. If I don't tell you when, I mean right now. I ain't allergic to it. King flow through my blood